Everybody, hi, and welcome to the official Body Spartan Podcast. My name is Gabe Tuff. I am the founder of Body Spartan. Tonight, I am joined, privileged, might I say, honored, humbled to have in my studio this incredibly amazing, powerful, sexy, not very tall, but super hot female, my wife, co-founder of Body Spartan, the one, the only.
Very flattered First Lady of Body Spartan, Priscilla Tuft.
These intros get better every week.
I am sitting here blushing so hard.
So hard.
So hard.
So hard. Well, okay, so tonight's topic, guys, and
I've
girls.
got OCD.
Why?
Okay, because the backdrop is up, which means that I can see everything that's in our storage unit.
Oh.
And it is driving me insane. Okay, I have a little bit of an issue. I need to go close it right now.
Why don't you go close that, and I will introduce the podcast. So tonight's topic, while Priscilla pulls the backdrop down so it looks pretty in here, is keto hacks.
Work like this.
Basically what happened is we were looking for a podcast topic. Not that there's any shortage thereof, but we have a private Facebook group for anyone that has purchased a Body Spartan program. Actually, the females have their own. It's the Revolution Facebook group. But the guys, if you've purchased Genesis, Unleashed, or if you're in the Spartan Army, we've got a private Facebook group dedicated just for those programs. That way you can ask questions, get your answers, find support from anybody else that's in that group that's done the program. And it works really good. So I posted a question. And I said, hey, guys, what topic would you like us to talk about on the next podcast? And amazingly, I had a very overwhelming result of people saying, help us with keto, help us with the diet. The diet's the hardest part of any fitness and nutrition plan. We want to know some tricks. Like, what are your guys' biggest secrets? How do you get it done? How do you get all the meals in? I'm like, okay, well, there's definitely a need for this. And it goes beyond the Body Spartan Facebook, private Facebook group. And I think this is going to help a lot of people. But before we go into that, as always, we got to bullshit a little. And speaking of bullshitting, Priscilla was reading something earlier today. We're just starting to talk about this before we hit record. And I said, whoa, you've got to save this for everyone. So you were reading a book today.
Well, I don't swear on the podcast. And if I tell you what I've read,
then
I'm gonna have to. Well, okay, I'll do that. But I want you to know that in this book that I'm reading, it is not called BS.
It's called bullshit.
Well, it's called bullshitting.
Why don't you just let your mouth run free on this podcast?
So, well, you know, I'm a lady.
No, I don't know.
I'm a lady.
I don't know.
So basically,
because those
I
words
pick up
fly out of your mouth in private quarters.
You just always try to bring it to that place, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I pick up the headset, and I'm used to binaural beats, where you listen to tones inside your ears, and the left headphone should be in the left ear, the right should be in the right ear. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I was under the impression that it needs to be set up that way on purpose because it's the way that your brain retains the...
Set up what way?
That the right should be in the right ear, the left should be in the left ear. I was under the impression that, okay, you say no.
Well, here's why. Because brainwave entrainment, which is what binaural beats are. And if you guys have never done or used binaural beats, there's a million apps for it. And the theory behind binaural beats is that if you wear headphones or you put in earbuds, what happens is you have these tones, and your body can only hear certain frequencies of sound. You're only capable of, or I should say, your brain can only process certain frequencies of sound. Anything higher than our spectrum or lower than our spectrum, we can't hear.
But and it can bring you into different brainwave states. So it can bring you into an alpha brainwave state where you're able to learn.
Yeah, well, let me explain how that works. The brain has frequencies, so it works on electromagnetic frequencies, and those are very low frequencies. And we have different states in that we go through. We have, like Priscilla was saying, alpha, delta, theta, and I believe gamma is the other one, right?
I'm not sure about gamma.
I'm just making up Greek letters, or I'm just going with all the Greek letters. Long story short, I studied this a long time ago. It made sense at the time when I studied it, and the theory works. Basically what happens is if you pump one frequency into one ear that you can hear, so say we take 50 hertz in the left ear or the right ear, doesn't matter, and then you pump 55 hertz into the other ear, you're going to get a step in the frequency. And your brain is going to recognize that step is what's going to happen. So that's the basis for that.
So basically, I was under the impression that you have to have it in, set up the left ear and the right ear and all of that. So I had the headphones set up, and he's wanted me to switch it so the cord's not whacking things off the table. And basically, he just comes up with this theory based on nothingness. And it brought me back to...
Based on nothingness?
Yeah, like, well, that's just how it is, or that's just what it is.
It doesn't matter. The idea is that you hear a frequency in your ear, or your brain recognizes the step, and it becomes entrained to that frequency. So you're not in your normal alpha state. You're in a theta state or a delta state.
So in Revolution, we use isochronic tones. So it has the same effect, but I was under the impression that binaural is two separate tones that are going into two separate ears.
Correct.
That are wired to program the left and right brain.
No. And here's here's a perfect example of why that won't work. Your earbuds do not require a left and a right, like those Dre Beats you're wearing.
But they say left and right.
No. 90% of earbuds do not say left and right on them. The only reasons the earbuds that we have say left and right is because they're shaped for your ear, and they have the little things that go over, or they're shaped slightly differently to fit in your ear. It's not because the stereo frequencies are broken up to the left and the right specifically.
Are you sure of that?
I'm 100% positive.
Okay.
Because I've had earbuds that don't have left and right on them. Like the cheap ones you get, on the airplanes, they don't have left and right.
So I haven't done that research, but I am curious. I ask all the questions. I love to ask all the questions. I like to know all the stuff. And when I was reading today, I'm going through this amazing
frustrated
book.
Tone. I can hear you.
Am I frustrated?
Oh, yeah. I can hear it. I know that tone.
I actually feel really great. So I'm reading this book called
Thanks a lot, guys.
Braving the Wilderness.
Stop it, turds.
And there's a chapter in this book that I was going through today that was all about bullshitting.
Oh my gosh, ring the bell. She said it.
I said it.
She said it. Holy crap.
So I'm going to go ahead and finish a thought.
And a pig just flew through the room.
Basically, that's when you're talking to somebody and telling them something really amazing and they act like they already know. So annoying. They're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they like try to say it at the same time as you do. And you're like, you don't know what I'm talking about.
It's like that little clip from Family Guy when Stewie's talking to Brian about the multiverse.
The multiverse.
Yeah, and the theory of the multiverse. Yeah, and there's time travel involved.
And you're like, you don't even know what I'm talking about. You literally do not. You're acting like you know what I'm talking. You don't know what bullshitting. Okay, so there's another form of bullshitting where it's like you have all the information. You've got your PhD in everything, but yet you don't. And so you end up saying a bunch of stuff that might sound a little bit smart to somebody who is uneducated, and you think you sound smart.
But then as soon as you get somebody that knows their shit.
And then the person's just like, oh my gosh. And they're not even willing to learn. You're like, oh my gosh, wow.
I know a couple of those people.
Wow. Well, there are people like that in every box of Cracker Jacks. Every one of them. That's the prize. So anyways, it was like kind of an interesting theory because I'm like, man, do I ever do that? And sometimes when I feel like somebody's being ignorant, I hate to do that because I'm not a judgmental person.
Yeah,
but sometimes, oh yeah, judgmental person. You just see, anybody can BS. Anybody can be great at that. All you have to do.
I was so turned on when you actually said bullshitting and you said it twice. I'm like, I'm gonna jump her right here. Like right here. Like it was the hottest thing. There's nothing hotter than a super smoking hot chick in great shape that has no problem letting a couple of words fly out. I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
So all you have to do to be an expert BSer is to repeat the last few words of somebody's sentence when you want to act like you know what they're talking about. And sometimes I would like throw those people under the bus and just like completely give fake information to see what they'll do and what they'll say.
I have the ultimate story for that.
Do it. Do the story.
Before we get into the keto diet and all the hacks, I have to tell you guys a story. Before Body Spartan, This is post WWE when I decided to leave World Wrestling Entertainment. For anybody that doesn't know, our daughter was 8 months old. I was on the road 5-6 days a week. I couldn't do it. I didn't get to see my family. She was crying every time I left. I'm like, I can't do this. So I literally just up and quit. I walked into Raw one day. I'm like, I'm out. See ya. Boom. I'm going to go do other stuff. Well, in the meantime, Priscilla's brother, we had started a digital marketing business. He'd been doing it for years. And he's like, hey, look, man, I can show you the ropes. So we just took it head on. We did search engine optimization. We built websites, all the geeky stuff. Like I should have had glasses. Actually, I do have glasses, but I should have had a pocket protector. I mean, you name it, man. I know all the tricks. It's really, I'm a closet geek.
So anyways, you guys were at a meeting.
So we're at a meeting and we were, basically we had this client and it was out in Calistoga and it'll remain nameless. We were doing a killer job. Like we did a whole website for these guys. We had done a ton of search engine stuff. We brought them up on like Google search results and they were getting tons of business from it. But they were just having a really shitty season. Not our fault that they were having a shitty season and that the place was kind of falling apart on the inside. So the owner had a acquaintance or friend that also did the same thing we did, but he was really bad at it. Like if you saw his website, it was like, ooh. You know, he had some clout though. And so the owner wanted us to go meet with him and talk about all the things that we were doing wrong. And so we sat down at this really nice restaurant. It was Brandon's in Calistoga. Good food, great food. And we start talking. We start, and it gets a little heated because this guy thinks he knows what he's talking about. Well, Priscilla's brother is a walking, talking, fucking encyclopedia. He has a photographic memory. He knows everything. And at one point,
it's actually really strange. He used to torture me like that as a kid because he really does know everything.
It's amazing.
And he can convince you of the things that you are like so certain about. He can convince you that you are completely wrong. It's so amazing. Like
he's amazing when it comes to this. So this guy's talking about all the stats and John's just firing back. And at one point we realized, look, no matter what we say, this guy is going to talk over us and he's going to bullshit. He's going to be a bullshitter. And that's really what was happening. And so it got down to the reviews.
And really it's an art. So we got to give them,
it got down to the reviews
there.
And how they weren't getting all the 5-star reviews that they wanted. And we're like, well, it's not our fault and blah, blah, blah. And John finally goes, yeah, things have really changed since Osteen, bought the company. You know Joel, right? Joel Osteen. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, Joel. Yeah. When he bought the company. And I look at John. And for anybody that doesn't know, Joel Osteen is that a TV/internet pastor, like the super rich kind of younger guy from Texas. So he's got that Texan accent, like nothing to do with Yelp. And it was right then and there, like I had to pick my jaw up off the table and I looked at John, I'm like, this is magic.
But then he like keeps going.
Oh, we never once let on that we understood what happening. We were just going to let him bury himself and we're just, the client was done with us anyway.
And it was totally fine because they're like agreeing with you and they're like, oh, yeah, I know. Olstein.
Yeah,
no,
Olstein. Since Olstein bought Yelp, man, everything's changed.
Olstein bought Yelp.
Yeah, since Olstein. Oh my God. I cannot believe like what I just walked out of there and I we went our separate ways. I looked at John. I was like, did what I think happened just happen? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, cool.
So funny.
I'm still dying here. I'm almost done hacking up my lungs. All right, so
next time you get tempted to be a bullshitter,
don't bullshit.
Tell the person, tell me more about that, and see what you can learn.
Yeah,
so because you don't always have to know any. Or you know what? I haven't heard of that music artist. Tell me. Like, don't be ashamed if you don't know.
That's really interesting because I think when I was younger, I used to do that. Actually, I know I used to do that. I
still do it sometimes. Oh, yeah, just to like fit in. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
Make the conversation go. Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
People have. And that's one of the things I think as we started to progress in our life with understanding that we don't know everything. And it's okay if we don't know everything. I still to this day do not know everything there is to know about bodybuilding and fitness.
And you don't have to pretend like you do.
I just totally lost my train of thought there. It was a total brain fart. It was kind of like this, like, wow, I really don't. Wow. And I don't. Well, I don't pretend like I do.
Because I feel like in society, just in general, I hate to generalize things, but we kind of feel like we have to keep up with like knowing about what's going on in the media and politics and all of this stuff. And sometimes you just don't know. And that is okay.
Oh, it's like all the new words that everybody's using, like bougie and lit and AF and how I just go on, I blatantly go, I don't know how to use these words, Brandon Howard. So how do I put them together? Like, oh, well, you say this. So I'm like, yeah, that's lit AF, bougie fam. And they just kind of look at me like, what did you just say? I'm like, I don't know. I just threw a bunch of words together.
I remember the first time that somebody ever told me my eyebrows were on fleek. I'm like, you jerk. I'm like, I think they look really good.
Don't you use that language about my eyebrows.
You are on fleek.
All right.
Anyways.
So keto hacks. Let's talk about the keto diet. It is kind of the centerpiece of Body Spartan and our success with people getting shredded and losing body fat. And Priscilla didn't create the keto diet, but it has been around for a very long time, decades. However, Priscilla, being a master licensed sports nutritionist, who I'm going to just go ahead and say this again since we like to give her accolades. When she took the exam in California, she just happened to score.
You're just trying to get lucky.
To get lucky. Yeah, later. Anyway, well, she scored one of the highest on the exam that there ever was. So she earned the title of master sports nutritionist. But she was doing this keto diet back when she was competing, and when she was on the cover of Muscle Mag, when she was in Oxygen twice, when she was a Max Sports and Fitness model, won Hawaiian Tropic a bunch of times, was the top 10 girls, won Fitness America, all this stuff. So anyway, now that we've gone over her accolades, the point is she used this keto diet that she basically worked the formula out for herself, changed a couple things, did some stuff. Now we got this cool proprietary formula that Priscilla created, and we use it for Revolution and we use it for Genesis, and it fucking works.
It's so amazing. Crazy because I didn't even have a name for it back then because it just wasn't a thing. And it's not just a ketogenic diet. It's a
cyclic keto diet. Yes.
And so this is our personal formula that we have put hundreds of athletes on stage with, and it works. It's effective.
And over 30,000 people on the Genesis program.
Absolutely.
Thousands on Revolution.
Now that we've taken it mainstream. And it's so crazy because this has always been what Genesis is all about. And now keto's mainstream. It's so crazy.
Yeah, like in the last 6 months. If you look at the Google trends for keto, it's really interesting, guys. If you look at the Google trends, you can check out trends on Google, which is a really cool thing to do. You go to Google, trends.google.com. You type in anything you want. You can see the search history, and you can see what people are searching for. Well, in the last 6 months, keto has gone exponential.
And I just thought, so exciting because I love that we were the trailblazers.
Oh, absolutely.
We're the ones that brought it in, and people are excited about it, and people are getting results on it. It's inspiring.
Well, let's talk about what it is. So I'm going to have to make the assumption that there are lots of people listening to this that know what the keto diet is because they're fans. However, I have to make the assumption also that there are even more people that don't know what a keto diet is. So a keto diet is basically when you cut out most of your carbs. And our limit is about 30 grams of carbs a day. And you eat higher fats and moderate to high protein. And what happens is your body starts to burn fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. And in that process, you release what's called ketones. And your body uses that for fuel as well. And it becomes a thing where you don't have insulin spikes when you have carbs. So you're not crashing after you eat food. You get a steady stream of energy. You start to incinerate your body fat because what happens? Your body is burning fat for fuel. So once you run out of fats that you're ingesting, it's going right for the body fat. It's like, oh yeah, I got to burn fat. So where's my next source? Oh yeah, the body fat.
So something you might not know is that everybody is burning fat at all times, but it's at such a minuscule rate that it's really not on the chart. As soon as you become active, then you are burning carbohydrates as fuel. Once you burn through those carbohydrates as fuel, you go back to fat. However, if you're on a ketogenic diet, like Gabe said, you're using fat as fuel. There are no carbohydrates to burn through. So you're skipping that middle process and you're burning fat at an accelerated rate the whole entire time.
So the process is amazing. It's called ketogenesis is what it's called. It's not ketoacidosis, so don't get those two confused. A lot of positive things come from ketogenesis. We've got lots of people, and I'm talking lots, that were insulin-dependent diabetics that have done this program, and because you don't have insulin spikes, you're not eating carbohydrates, their blood sugar balanced, and they no longer have to take insulin. And there are studies to actually prove this and back this up is linked on our Genesis and our Revolution pages if you guys are interested. People report decreased acne. They have a steady stream of energy. What else, aside from getting super duper fucking shredded?
Super shredded.
I mean, there's a
the
myriad of
biggest thing
things.
for me is the fact that I'm just not as hungry.
Cholesterol levels do much better on this diet. Lowers blood pressure as well.
I just love that I was always freaking out looking for the next thing that I was going to eat, hangry. And you just don't get that because you're not getting those insulin spikes.
Yep.
So it's more steady state.
You'll notice when it's time to eat, you'll go, oh yeah, I think I might need some food now. But you're not like, oh my God, if I don't eat something, I'm going to kill somebody. I'm going to chew on your face if I don't get food right now.
And if it's not something that works for you, there are 100,000 different things that will work for you. And basically, it's like if you believe in it, it's going to work. If you want to do it, it's going to work. But if you don't like it, there's another nutrition plan that will work for you. For example, Unleashed is a complete opposite of what this is.
Yep.
But if you are wanting to go full in,
either way,
all in, all of that stuff, if you're ready to really see what your body is capable of, if you really want to see how lean you can get, ketosis is something you're going to want to try. And not just any ketogenic nutrition plan. Trying one that cycles in carbohydrates is brilliant because what happens is your muscles deplete themselves of glycogen. And we've learned that if we specifically time the carbohydrates in a very, very specific way, that it'll refill your glycogen stores and allow your muscles to become more plump, give you more energy.
And strength.
And
you
strength.
basically, glycogen is where your strength comes from. And this cyclic keto diet that Priscilla has created, it allows you to stay strong. And it allows you to actually gain muscle in the process. Our protein intake is a little higher than some other keto diets as well, which is one of the reasons that you stay anabolic the whole time. Rather than just maintaining the muscle mass, you actually gain muscle mass when on this program, both programs, Genesis or Revolution. Now, there are some limitations, though. We need to talk about that because people, I want to talk about what it is, what we eat, and then we're going to talk about some hacks. But you got to be careful with the fats. When we say high fats, I don't mean go eat a bunch of fucking brownies. We got to talk about the healthy fats that you need to eat. Things like olive oil, avocados, avocado oil, coconut oil. A lot of your fats can come from nuts. The fatty meats are totally fine. So,
because remember, at the end of this whole thing, you're going to want to mostly be like alive and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to sit there chilling,
Eat
chewing on bacon.
Hydrogenated oil. Hey, wait, I eat bacon on keto.
You do eat bacon on keto, but
really
do you also eat vegetables? Do you also eat foods that are causing your body to thrive? Do we also eat a crap load of coconut oil? Yes, we do.
Why don't we dive into that too? And I think it's super important that we talk about how Priscilla and I do our keto diets and how the people that are successful do the keto diets. Because, yeah, it's not just, meat and fats. It's high quality fats, your protein sources, which can be eggs as well, and then meat. So you're ingesting a lot of meat. Now, how do you push that through your digestive tract? You need fiber. And the way to get fiber is through leafy greens. So broccoli, spinach, asparagus, green beans, Brussels sprouts. What else am I missing?
And even these things.
Psyllium husk.
And we've got like extensive lists. When you get Genesis, when you get Revolution, you're going to get extensive lists of acceptable foods. But even these fibrous foods can throw you out of ketosis if you eat them in too high a quantity.
Oh, and one of the things that we do is, I eat a lot. I eat a lot of spinach, a lot of broccoli, and a lot of green beans. And the purpose of that is to basically quelch any hunger you might have. So it slows down the digestive process when you eat greens. And not only that, it's super healthy for you. You think about all the high quality antioxidants you're getting and all the other benefits of eating plants, dark leafy greens. I mean, your body loves you for that. I'm super, when I do keto, I feel so good. Like, I feel excellent.
There's more to just losing body fat than losing body fat.
Yeah, it's a science.
You also want to feel good. You also want to thrive because food holds vibrational energy. Think about the leafy greens. Think about the vegetables. Think about the what's the word that I'm looking for? Hydrogen and oxygen rich foods that come from the earth that are infused with light.
Nitrogen and oxygen rich.
Nitrogen and oxygen
yes.
rich. And they're full of water. And they're full of light. And it's causing your body to thrive and feel good. But if you're eating a bunch of bacon, a bunch of dried fruit, dry vegetables, dry, you're going to feel dry.
I feel dry right now. I need some water.
Do you feel dry?
I feel dry in all the wrong places.
Sticky mouth.
All the wrong places.
So being on a ketogenic nutrition plan, it's also really important that you get oxygenated foods.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's get into some hacks. I mean, you guys got the basic idea. It's, salad dressings are great. Salad dressings have high quantities of fat. So the idea is in each one of our programs, we automatically calculate your macros based on a profile that you fill out. So there's no thinking. You don't have to go through the equations that we use and everything. It literally just spits it out for you. Like, okay, I get X amount of grams of protein, X amount of grams of fat, and here's my carbs per meal. Done deal. So all you gotta do is meet that. And there's ways to meet it. Things you gotta be careful for, guys. Cheese, dairy. I'm not a big dairy fan, and here's why. Dairy has a ton of hormones in it, like an absorbent amount of hormones that throw your shit off, high levels of estrogens. We try to stay away from that. Yes, I like cheese on things. That is one of my weaknesses. I'm going to just blatantly admit that I like cheese.
And he stays in ketosis with the cheese.
Well, I do. It's a fat.
It's like all of the dairy, all of the bacon, all of that stuff. You can still get results. All things are possible, but not all things are beneficial. So these things will work. But is it what's going to make you feel the best? If you're freaking out, go eat cheese.
Yeah,
Goodness
it's not
sakes.
the end of the world, guys.
It's better to eat cheese than eat a carb if you're working on a ketogenic plan.
You just have to think about how clean and how lean you want to be. This diet, let's say if you've never done this before and you're significantly overweight or you're in the 20% body fat range even, you're going to lose a lot of body fat on a ketogenic diet, no matter what. It's when you start fine-tuning that you're going to notice the difference. If you're getting ready for contest prep, you're getting you want to get super shredded. This is when it really makes a difference.
Genesis is perfect for anybody that's contest prepping, but Revolution, we turn it up a little bit more because we encourage people away from dairy. Yep. And we encourage people to eat more what a competitor would eat.
Yeah. And by the way, Revolution is the female program if you're listening. And you haven't figured that out yet. Okay, so let's talk about some of the comments I'm getting in our Facebook group and on our Facebook posts because these are important because we're going to lead into the hacks. I am shocked at the number of people that read the ebook, look at the program, watch the videos, and still don't eat the required amount of times per day. I'm blatantly shocked. So the average person eats 2 to 3 times a day. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get shredded, you have to ramp up your metabolism. And you do that by increasing your meal frequency and decreasing the amount you're eating per portion. So usually people have a really large breakfast, snack, really large lunch, snack, really large dinner, and a couple snacks before they go to bed. Well, your body goes, okay, I'm not getting fed for 6 hours. I better store some of this as body fat because I got to last at least 6 hours. And some days you skip meals. So then you got to go, 10 hours without food or 8 hours without food. People do this all the time. So your body learns to store body fat. Now, if you're eating more times a day than that, your Revolution calls for 6 a day, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah, 6 meals a day. Genesis, 6 meals a day. We're eating about every 3 hours, and it has a purpose. These programs have a reason they're written this way. So if you guys are picking this up, you girls are picking up the programs, Bill Phillips, if you guys know who Bill Phillips is, he was the creator of EAS Sports. He owned Muscle Media magazine and the company EAS. They came out that Myoplex back in the day. They were one of the first people to ever use or promote beta-alanine. He was one of the biggest promoters of creatine when it first came out. Bill Phillips.
Come on, everybody knows what beta-alanine
Body for
is.
Life transformation. This is super famous stuff.
I just realized how many people listen and they're like, beta what?
Beta-alanine.
Like for us, the way that we banter back and forth, I think that we might lose some people.
Well, they all got a Google button.
Do they know what Myoplex is? Man, we lived on that stuff when we started getting into fitness.
It's still around, actually.
Is it really?
And
now
the reason
it's horrible.
I'm not feeling like a dinosaur saying it is because somebody actually mentioned it the other day that they were buying it. I'm like,
but now it's terrible. No, because now they mass produce. So that beautiful, pristine product that we used to have is now mass produced, and it's.
Yeah. Well, all that aside, the point is,
don't get Myoplex.
Bill had programs he put out, and they would basically say that it's saying. It's called Do the Damn Program. There's an acronym that goes with that, but it's Do the Damn Program. It's written this way for a fucking reason. Why would you change something that we wrote, we took all the time to put out there that we know is going to work? You're going to change it and do your own thing, or you're going to do half the program? No! Eat fucking 6 times a day like we tell you guys. There's no excuses. And if you think there's an excuse, listen to our last podcast. Episode 29 is what I believe that was. It's called No Excuses. You need the meal prep. You need to learn that your meals will simply consist of a protein source, so fucking meat or eggs. You can hard boil your eggs, you can have them scrambled, or you have your meat. Okay? Fish, steak, ground beef, ground turkey, chicken of any kind, ground chicken, pork, swordfish. I don't fucking care.
And guess
protein.
what? Guess what, lazy butt?
Crab.
Guess what?
Armadillo.
Are you done?
Raccoon. It's protein. Go ahead.
I'm feeling fearful right now.
Possum.
Do we eat these things?
No.
No.
I've had swordfish.
No more raccoon. Everybody
no
needs
more
to,
possums, guys.
We're not going to do any more possums.
Way too cute.
Not yet. Right?
So your meal will consist of a protein source.
What I wanted to say was that you don't have to have it raw. You can buy it pre-cooked. If you're a lazy butt, that's what I was going to say. It was going to be really cute.
Do you think that I was telling people to eat their food raw?
No. Oh my gosh. We're talking about simplifying and answering questions. And so many people are like, I don't have time to cook the food. And what I was going to say, which was going to be super adorable before you interrupt me, guess what, lazy butt? You can buy it pre-cooked. And you can go to Costco and they have so many like meatballs, like lean or even fat-filled meatballs or sausages, which are made out of chicken or turkey or even pork. I really kind of veer away from pork.
As cool as this is, and it's an excellent hack, you interrupted me. I was right in the middle of telling everybody what they need to learn to have in their meals.
And you were saying...
And you're like, whoa, I got something to say. Hold up. And then, by the way, like, I'm holding up my hand all crazy style right now.
If I don't talk then
to the
you
hand
kick
style.
Or pinch...
I do kick and I do pinch.
So why don't you give me like a Priscilla-ometer and let me know when I'm supposed to inject some conversation here.
You can interject anytime you want to, but just make sure it's timed properly so I'm not right in the middle of fucking thoughts. Okay? P? That was rude. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to say something?
No, I don't. So your meals it's very simple. Your meals consist of a protein source, a fat source, and they need to equal the macros that you have laid out on your dashboard, and very, 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 very little carbs. And you need to realize that a lot of your fat sources, not the ones that are in the meat, but the other things like your nuts, these nuts. Not even a laugh.
Oh, can I laugh now?
Oh, here we go. This is how this podcast is going to go. Oh, can I talk? Oh, I'm sorry.
Those nuts? Those nuts?
Yeah, these nuts.
Donuts? So they can have donuts?
Oh, my God.
Oh gosh. No donuts on keto.
Thank you so
Don't
much,
do
Nigel.
it. You love it.
So things like your external fat sources. Now I'm saying weird words like external. So your extra fat sources. So avocados have carbs in them.
External fat sources.
It's like an external hard drive.
Download fat here to the external fat source.
Your fats you are downloading. They will have hidden carbs. They're called trace carbohydrates. So you need to look up the nutritional facts of these foods and these fat sources and see how many carbs are in them and then do the fucking math. So if you're eating a handful of cashews, guess what? Those got a lot of carbs in them. Almonds, not so much. Coconut oil, 0 carbs. Olive oil, 0 carbs. Avocado oil, 0 carbs. There's good fat sources.
It's killing me because there's so many little hacks that are embedded in what you're saying. Because someone's like, am I just going to like drink coconut oil?
No.
No,
you
that's
can drizzle it over your
gross.
salads, your olive oil, your avocado. You can cook your foods in the coconut oil. Go ahead, Priscilla. You raised your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you interrupt me? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a very powerful voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I want to say something? Oh, no. No, you go ahead. Okay, so I take coconut oil and I mix it up with my favorite little mix, my Shakeology, and I mix it up because it tastes good. And I put it in little ice cube trays and I freeze it. And all day long, I eat chocolate. It's so good.
Well, okay.
I love it. So there's ways that you can eat it that are unconventional.
Some sort of pattern here.
But you won't let me come up with an agenda anymore. So we don't have
You knew we were talking about keto hacks.
I know you're like, no agenda.
All right. So now that you know what's in your meal and you need the meal prep, so you need to have this set up and go, okay. And by the way, I need some sort of greens with almost every meal as well. So there's really not that much to it. And people are like, I don't know what to eat. I'm like, well, just fucking grab a bunch of fats. There's a whole list in the Genesis program and Revolution. There's a whole list of fats. There is a list of fats in both programs.
So it's very easy. You can look at the meal plan and you pick a protein. You pick a fat. There you go. Boom, done.
And some greens.
Yeah, toss some
And
greens.
if you want to put it in a fucking blender, I don't care.
We really don't care.
Add some fucking water or chicken broth.
Actually, babe, do we care?
No.
No, we don't.
No. Nobody fucking cares about your
maybe
feelings.
a little.
No.
No.
Not even,
no.
I don't care how you do it. Just get that food down your throat.
Just eat it.
Just fucking eat the food.
Just eat the food.
And make sure you eat six times a day.
Eat all the food 6 times a day.
It's really not that difficult, and people make it really hard. There's a point when you have to realize that food, when it comes to meeting a fitness or physique goal, it's not for pleasure. People sometimes eat for pleasure. A lot of times people eat, oh, this tastes good, and it releases serotonin. You get all happy like brownies. God, I want brownies. But you don't eat for pleasure. You're eating for a specific goal over a specific timeline. So all of our programs are 12 weeks. You're going to know for the next 3 months, I'm eating for a purpose. It's only 3 months, guys. There are 12 months in a fucking year, and you live to be 80 to 100 years old. Get the fuck over it.
But remember, the way that you're feeling
Why
about the
are you raising your
foods-
hand? It's like we're in school, and I'm the teacher, and if you talk out of turn, I'm going to smack you with a ruler.
Yeah, pretty
Which
much.
I might do later, but anyway.
That's just pretty much.
Yep. Oh, she's tongue-tied now. I got her. So go ahead. Feel free to talk.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
That's not a thing. I will get the ruler. There's a very awkward silence right now. We just totally forgot we're doing a podcast. a lot of tension in the room right now. Talking about rulers and keto.
I literally do not remember what I was going to say.
Can't even focus.
It was important. Like, remember that flow that you and I usually have? Like,
Gone.
always?
Gone.
Like, right now, I'm like,
yeah.
maybe you should stop interrupting
Skirts
me.
and rulers, all you can think about.
No.
Oh, speaking of which, one of the things that you guys know we say all the time, especially when Howard is here, is hookers and blow. Like, it's just this ongoing joke about, hey, what are we going to do? Hookers and blow, hookers and blow. Well, Priscilla has been going through and doing our books lately, kind of taking over that. And she's like, there's a bunch of some things I got to talk to you about because I don't know what they are. I'm like, oh, babe, they're just hookers and blow. She's like, oh, okay. Can you figure out a way so that we can, like, make it tax deductible at least? And I look at her. She's like, I got it. What'd you say? It was talent?
I said talent and supplements.
So if you guys are trying to write off hookers and blow, it's talent and supplements.
Meanwhile, in Keto Land,
let's talk about a couple of meals that you guys can do.
Sometimes I just lay awake at night and just pray that my mom and dad never listen to my podcast.
Oh, I pray that they do.
Oh my gosh!
Just know the real us.
Oh my gosh!
Well, actually, you know what? Before we talk about specific meals, let's do this. Let's give a little information for everybody. If you're looking for keto meals or bulking meals, we do recipes every single week, and we film them and we write them out for you. And we show all the macros and all the ingredients, and they're not very long. We try to basically do it this way. We know everybody's busy. And we know you're not gourmet chefs. You don't want to take the time to cook because we're limited in time anyway. So we do these recipes every single week, and we put them in what's called the Spartan Army. It's our monthly membership section, and you get a free 30-day trial. You can go check it out. You can see all the recipes. They never leave. They're archived. They're only available for people that are members of the Spartan Army. bodyspartan.com/Spartan Army.
And I'm just going to warn you right now that sometimes we throw food.
There's food being thrown. There are some bloopers sometimes. But every recipe show comes with a bulking meal for Unleashed and a keto meal for Genesis and for Revolution. But on top of that, every single week you get a fit tip video. So it's one of us giving you one of our insider secrets. You get a motivational video that stays in the member section. It's really just for you guys. You get a workout. So we'll pick a body part every single week. We'll go through a full workout with you so that you can constantly mix up your workouts. And once a month, we do a video call where either Priscilla, myself, Howard, Brandon, Brian Cage, we will get in front of the webcam and we will prepare. It was pretty good. We're going to spend an hour online with you guys talking about something that's some sort of deep fitness thing that's going to really help you on your journey. And that was a very vague terminology, a deep fitness thing.
A deep fitness thing.
We used to do them weekly, but I really wanted to spend more time and dive deep into a lot of the tips and tricks that I use, that Priscilla uses, and have the ability to do Q&As at the end. So we open it up to a question and answer period, and we actually answer every single one of the question, whether there's 100 people or 200 people on the call or 1,000 people on the call. We answer every question that we can. So we go through and we do that. bodyspartan.com/Spartan Army. So now that you understand you need to meal prep, the next part about keto is just figuring out what to do and how to do it. So What's your favorite keto meal, P?
My favorite keto meal is my little ice cube tray.
Oh, but you left out that
I
you
can't
put
live.
like almond butter in that too.
Oh, sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll put almond butter.
Why don't you tell them how you do it?
So I just take almond butter, or I'll take PB2, the little powder.
Yep.
I'll take Shakeology,
And so
I'll
Shakeology is...
It's basically it's just like a meal. I don't know. Google it.
It's a
Goodness sakes.
Beachbody product.
Look it up.
We don't sell it, but it's delicious. We got hooked on it a long time ago. It's kind of expensive, but dude, it's got very little carbs in it. It's all plant-based vegetarian carbs, so you don't really have to worry about them too much.
The thing is, it doesn't taste like protein.
No, it tastes like fucking brownies.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And so we take some of that powder, we take some of the protein or some of the peanut butter, we mix it in melted coconut oil.
So you do it all on the stove, right?
So I'll take that and eat some nitrate-free turkey slices with it. That's my favorite meal. And then I might wrap up either some kale or some sort of salad inside the little piece of meat, and I roll it up and eat it while I wait for the other stuff to
do
freeze.
Basically take those turkey slices, you stick a bunch of, what do you put, like sriracha in them or something? And
I mean, are we being real?
Yeah, are we always real on the keto diet? I mean, on the podcast.
So real is I toss them in the ice tray, and because I'm an impatient crazy lady, I take the pieces of turkey and I literally jam something green inside. I wrap it up and I chew on it and I watch the clock for 20 minutes until my things are frozen. Any more questions? And I might be licking the bowl that I made it out of. Done?
All right.
Are we done? Are we finished? That's my favorite keto meal.
Cool. So mine, I don't have a favorite keto meal, but I will tell you guys, one of the things that I'm a fan of are getting those meatballs, the pre-cooked meatballs from Costco, because they're high in fat. There's virtually no carbs. If you get the ones that have the teriyaki or pineapple in them, they're going to have some carbs in it because they got a little bit of sugar in the spices. So you got to watch for that. But I basically take 10 of those, dump them in a freaking saucepan and turn it on high until they're warm with a little tiny bit of water. So now I've got my meat. I've got my protein. I've got a lot of my fats. And then I just dump that over spinach.
Okay, now
add some ranch to it to make up for the fats that I don't have.
Now Mia's favorite keto meal, it's so adorable. So she's got this little platter that she got for like her 3rd birthday, and it's cute, it's pink, it's got hearts on it, and she makes her daddy a keto plate. It's so cute. So she'll take little slices of cheese, little rolled up pieces of meat, little meatballs. She'll stick, what do you call those things? Toothpicks in them.
Yeah.
Some nuts, some cashews, some almonds. And she'll make a little keto plate, and they're actually really good. You can even toss a few pieces of fruit on it. Just a tiny bit, because remember, those have carbohydrates, but you can grab grapes, you can have berries, and just put a few on the side, maybe toss some little sprigs of green to make it pretty.
Yeah, I don't want people to think, I know with Revolution you've got some different, how can I say this? Leniency on that. Not leniency, but you're
leniency. It's very
allowed
specific.
And it's very specific on Genesis. I'm like, no fruit, no fucking fruit. Because people abuse it, is what I found. And that's the reason I just say no, because people just fucking abuse it. They're like, I can have an apple and a pear every day.
Believe, if you're listening to this, I believe in your ability to make brilliant choices. And I'm watching your results on Revolution, and I'm knowing that this is working. And I'm thinking about your digestive system. I want you to feel amazing. And if you have a tiny bit of fruit during the day, you're going to thrive. But you've got to do it correctly, and you've got to stay within your macros, and you've got to make a choice that this is going to be the thing that changes your body and changes your life. You cannot go on remaining the same. So if you have a little bit of fruit, goodness sakes, you can do it. It's like a little tiny bit of berries or a little bit of grapes. And it's going to give you that fiber the same way that the vegetables do. Just like Gabe said, we're not going to abuse it.
I think I'm going to come up with a sound effect that every time you say thrive, it's going to be like, oh. That'd be pretty cute. Like a chorus in the background.
That'd be adorable.
When we're done.
That would be adorable. Like Mia's prayer tonight at dinner time. That was so cute. Dear God, thank you for this food. Let us take it into our innermost and thrive.
So let's do this, guys. Let's walk through a day when I'm on keto so you guys can understand how my day goes. I get up, I wake up, I do my morning cardio, and during that process, I chug some BCAA so that I don't go catabolic. I come back home, I make eggs, and I have some steamed green beans with that usually, or broccoli. And the way I do this is I'll, depending on my macros, I usually do, let's see, an egg's got 5 grams of fat or 6. I can't even remember right now. I'd have to look this up. 5 or 6. So, 3 whole eggs is going to be between 15 and 18 grams of fat. I usually get about 30 grams of fat, maybe 34-ish when I'm on keto, depending on where I'm trying to be. So I'm not quite there. So I will do 3 whole eggs, 3 egg whites, scramble the heck out of that stuff with some salt, a little bit of pepper, maybe sprinkle some cheese on it because I like cheese and I got to account for the fats there. I will, on a separate saucepan or pot, I'll add a little bit of water at the bottom, maybe an inch, turn it on a high, dump in green beans or dump in broccoli, sprinkle some salt on that too, some pink salt actually, cover it and let those things steam till they're soft. By the time my eggs are done, those are done, I drain the water, I put it on a plate and I'll add half an avocado. Boom. I'm done, dude. That is breakfast. And I'm full because I met all my requirements. The greens will keep the digestion slow and it'll keep me full until the next meal.
A lot of times
Priscilla
people are like, oh, you're there. I'm so hungry on keto. If you're getting in the proper amounts of fat, you're not going to be hungry.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. And I want to segue into that too, really, really briefly before I go back to what I was doing on my daily diet. People talk about this thing called the keto flu. And the keto flu is really bullshit. It's this blown up thing.
Are you bullshitting?
Are you bullshitting about the keto flu? Keto flu?
Oh, do you guys know what it is?
The keto flu?
You know the keto flu.
The
keto flu.
And it's this fucking term people made up because what happens is when you go low carbs, initially you get a little low blood sugar, you get a little lightheaded here and there. Or we get what's people call the keto fog, and it's basically your body adjusting to not having carbs.
And sometimes it has nothing to do with being in ketosis. It has to do with cutting sugar or not getting enough water or being hungry because you're not getting enough fat.
90% of the time, that's what it is. And so people just like, oh, the keto flu. When you say it like that, when you give it a name and you label that symptom that may not even be from the nutrition plan, it's a thing. Everybody gets scared. I'm like, dude, there's nothing to be fucking afraid of. You just need to dive in and fucking, people are like, oh, should I wean into it slowly? I'm like, no. Then your body's going to be incredibly confused and it's going to take way longer to get into ketosis. It takes about 7 to 14 days to get into keto. And well, for me, it takes like 4, but the average person, 7 to 14 days. The keto flu is just fucking bullshit, dude. It's just bullshit.
The scariest...
Drink water, eat plenty of fats, make sure you're getting all your meals in, and stop being a fucking pussy.
The scariest part is not following through on what you know you're capable of doing. Do you want this to be like every other nutrition plan that you've ever tried? And there you are sitting back on your couch eating those same stupid crackers, watching that same stupid show. Or do you want to go and do something that feels good? Because you know how it feels to fail. You don't want to go back there again. You don't want to be that person. It feels like garbage.
Yeah, serious garbage. All right, so segueing back to my regular day. My next meal is usually something like I'll do maybe an egg white shake. So we'll use that Shakeology stuff. So I'll do pasteurized egg whites, the liquid ones that you can buy, which is actually interesting. I had somebody ask today in the Facebook group for the Body Spartan community. They said, hey, I've never done egg white shakes before. I hear you guys talking about it. Do I cook the egg whites and then put it in the blender?
No.
I'm like, dude, that is, as funny as that is, that's a legitimate question. If you're new to this, I'm like, I just want to clarify that the egg whites should be the liquid ones. And yeah, get the pasteurized ones at Costco. That way there's no bacteria in them.
How gross would that be? Okay, let's totally do that.
Those were the comments. They're like, dude, that would be pretty nasty.
Let's totally do that on Snapchat tomorrow. Let's see what it's like to like do our recipe, our egg white recipe, the shake, with cooking the eggs first. Like we'll scramble them.
I'm going to throw up.
So we'll try them scrambled. We'll try whole eggs. How else do you do an egg? A poached egg? We'll try all the ways.
We're going to do an egg white shake.
We're going to do, but first we're going to cook the eggs.
We're going to cook it. And we're not making fun of that person. I just thought it was...
No, because you're awesome
I'm
and
just
we love
wondering
you.
how many other people actually might have thought that, because I was never specific about using liquid egg whites for that. So liquid egg whites, and I'll take a scoop of almond butter that meets my macros. So however many tablespoons of almond butter I need, I'll dump that in. Oh, by the way, I use a full cup of those pasteurized egg whites because that's about 45 grams of protein, give or take. Get my fats through the almond butter. I'll add a little bit of the Shakeology stuff that Priscilla was mentioning because it tastes great. If you don't have that, you can use like PB2 or something. Or even, as much as I'm not a fan of protein powders, you can toss some chocolate protein in there to make it taste good. I don't rely on the protein, the whey protein, because I don't trust it. But if you're looking for flavor, that's going to work. Because egg whites by themselves taste like shit.
Or you can do some cacao powder, which is basically raw cocoa.
Yeah, basically tastes like chocolate.
And then you can use some stevia.
Stevia is great, and liquid stevia works really good too. You don't seem to have that bite that the not is it the powder, the granular stevia?
Wow, we haven't had that in a hot minute. Oh no, we do.
But the liquid or the powder?
The liquid. We haven't had the powder in a really long time.
No, we have the liquid in the cabinet. I use it all the time.
Do we have the vanilla kind? Because that's the best.
Yeah, sweet.
Vanilla's really good.
There's stevia drops. So there's little tiny droppers or containers that have a dropper and like an eyedropper. And you literally need like one or half of an eyedropper full of this stuff because it's so powerful. And if you overdo it, it's got a nasty bite to it. So you just got to kind of slowly sweeten it. Stevia, actually, that is a really good call. There's the vanilla stevia that tastes really good. You could dump that in there. And basically, I just add ice and I blend the shit out of it. And I got a nice little shake. And so there's my fats. So, okay, my protein is the egg whites. The fats is the almond butter. And the vegetables are basically ground up in the Shakeology. So there's everything I could possibly need for meal two.
Keep in mind, this is a high-speed blender. If you do it in your Hamilton, it's not going to turn out too
what is
good.
it, the Ninja? Remember those little things?
It might work in the Ninja. The Magic Bullet.
Magic Bullet.
It will maybe sort of work in a Magic Bullet, but...
Is that what I'm... Oh, that is a blender.
It's a blend. The Magic Bullet's the small one that we used to have.
What's that little toy?
Yep. Wait, that's just a bullet.
Oh, it's not a magic bullet, guys. It doesn't work.
No, it was so funny. I remember my girlfriends are like, "Oh, your mom sent your Christmas or your birthday present.
You want the Magic Magnum, not the Magic Bullet."
She's like, "Oh, what'd your mom get you?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. My mom got me the Magic Bullet." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Mel, it's so exciting. Come on, let's go inside. Let's use it right now."
I'll show you how it works.
She's freaking out. I'm like, all I have to do is plug it in. She's freaking out. I'm like, I'm making you a smoothie. She's like,
She really starts freaking out.
She's like in a full, she's in like a full sweat.
I don't want it.
Yeah, no, not that kind of bullet. But anyways.
So that's meal two. Use a high-speed blender or just get some chopped up whatever, buy the ice that's broken. Get a blender that actually works, okay? Enough beating around the bush.
High-speed blender.
Just get a blender that fucking blends ice, okay? I love my Vitamix. It was like $400, but it's
more than that. It's a family member.
I don't want to know how much it was. Anyway, so that's meal two. Meal three will usually be something like some chicken. So I like to get those tenderloins, those frozen tenderloins at Costco. They're not the full-size chicken breasts because those take forever to defrost and cook. I get the little tiny ones. They look like little chicken strips almost. They're just boneless, skinless. They're chicken breasts, chicken tenderloins. And I'll take 3 of them, which is 50 grams of protein.
You were going to say chicken tenderloins.
Chicken tenderloins. And to defrost them really quick, you can either put them in some hot water for a couple minutes, or if you're in a pinch, dude, just fill up a saucepan, with an inch of water, dump the frozen chicken tenderloins in there, turn the shit on high. And the steam and the hot water will defrost them. Once they're defrosted, just drain the water out and keep cooking them. And the whole process maybe takes 6 minutes to cook these things. And here's what I'll do. I'll get my fat. So I'll measure out how much coconut oil I want to use or olive oil. Coconut oil's got a nice sweet taste to it. So I'll cook the chicken in that. Once I drain the water, then I dump the fats in. So I'll cook it in coconut oil or olive oil. I'll use like Lowry seasoning salt on these bad boys, or lemon and pepper, or just depending on what I want that day. And when I'm done, I'll take them out. I'll chop up the chicken real quick with a knife so it's already cubed, and then I'll put it over whatever I want, like a bed of spinach or something, and then I'll dump Alfredo sauce on it. Or if it's over a bed of spinach, what I'll probably do is put a spaghetti sauce or pasta sauce on it.
Alfredo sauce is another super duper awesome keto hack.
It is, because it's high in fat, ultra low in carbs, and it tastes amazing.
It just mixes it up. It can get really boring.
I won't, and I take it back. I won't put the Alfredo sauce on spinach because it seems weird. What I will do is put it over the chicken, and then I'll have my greens on the side. So all the chicken's cooking, I'm cooking green beans or asparagus. It's one of 3 things.
It would taste good if the spinach was cooked, but Gabe
I don't like cooked spinach.
He will not eat cooked spinach. Isn't that crazy?
For me, it's usually asparagus, green beans, or broccoli.
I think most people would cook their spinach.
They cook all about the same time. Asparagus takes a little longer. I cook them all the same way. I steam them. And the great part is, too, you can have some freaking butter. I know we're not big dairy people here, but you can add some butter or even olive oil to those things. That way they got extra fats. Or if you
really want to knock it out of the park, you can have some ghee. And that's clarified, raw, organic
You find that under
butter.
the...
hippie aisle.
It's like an Indian butter, basically, is what it is, right?
You will find it over by the milk. Like over by the milk aisle.
Now where it is?
Yeah.
So other things. So that's That's
And
like
that's
meal 2, or that's meal
GHE.
3. So meal 4, like I get those hamburger patties at Costco too, the frozen ones. And dude, I'll defrost 2 of those in the mic on defrost for like 9 minutes. I'll walk away, come back, pop them in on the skillet or in a pan, cook those things, throw them over some lettuce, guys. Imagine that with some cheese on it, dump a bunch of ranch dressing on it. I'm done. Like done. There's so much fat in that between the cheese and the ranch dressing. I'm done. Like I don't need to do anymore.
And for those of you that can't cook, like we said earlier, you can get pre-cooked meats. There's tons at Costco. There's tons at, Safeway or whatever your grocery store is. You can even grab one of those pre-cooked chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And they're nice and they're warm and you're headed home from work. You just grab it. That'll last you a few days.
Oh, one of my utmost favorite things to do that's quick and easy. At Costco, they have the chicken tikka masala pre-cooked. So you have this awesome Indian food lunch, dinner, pre-made. It's chicken in the tikka masala sauce, and literally you just cut it open, drop it into a pan, heat it up, and you dump it over whatever you want. And you can have, broccoli on the side. I usually have it with broccoli or over a bed of spinach. The broccoli I just mix in there because not curry, but Indian food's usually mixed in anyway with all that stuff. So I'm like, that tastes great. Or you can get the curry, the big containers of liquid curry. They come in like 2 packs. The Vindaloo is, I think, what they're called. One's a coconut curry, and I don't remember what the other one is. In the pack, they all taste the same to me. But, dude, I'll cook the chicken the same way, and I'll just dump curry sauce over it. And just throw that over vegetables. I'm like, there you
curry
go.
everything. It's creepy.
I love curry.
God,
I
can't
hate
do it.
but
I just can't do it.
I love it. And then I just reek of Indian food all day.
Oh, yeah.
The whole
Like,
house.
so
I remember Mia walked
happy.
in one day. She's like, what is that terrible smell, Dad? I'm like, that, my
India.
dear, that is Indian food, and you will learn to love it. No, I won't. It's ran out crying.
Quick, darling, we need to leave the house.
I mean, those are some basic hacks. And then if you're going to take the stuff to work with you, you need to buy meal prep containers. And the best thing to do, guys, is to separate your anything that might wilt or get yicky, like avocado or something.
Yicky?
Yicky is the word. Like, you remember when you were in school and your mom would make your sandwiches and she like load up the jelly on the peanut butter and jelly, and you get the sandwich. You're so excited for lunch. You sit down with all the kids and everybody's open. Let's see what they got. And there's your peanut butter and jelly sandwich at the bottom of your lunchbox with the apple sitting right on top of it. You know what I'm talking about. This has happened to everybody. You pull the apple off, you can already see the wet spot in the bread from the weight of the apple. And the bread is just soggy and gross. This is like anything that wilts. So, spinach will wilt. Vegetables will if they're pre-cooked and they're mixed in, they're not going to wilt. But any leafy stuff, separate that in a different container and then just mix them together when it's time to eat. That's the easy way to do this stuff.
And basically, we just want to sum it up as stop whining.
Stop whining.
Stop whining.
Everybody down. It's a bomb.
Another meal that we really love is just spaghetti. But instead of having noodles, we use the Miracle noodles, or we'll use zoodles, or we'll serve it over spinach.
Now, most people probably don't know what zoodles are. So why don't you tell them?
Zucchini noodles.
There's a little contraption that you
The
can buy.
Veginator.
Is that what it's called? The Veginator?
No, it's got a really terrible name.
It reminds me of vagina every time I say it.
Yeah.
V-
It's a terrible word that starts with a V, and it kind of sounds like veggie, and it kind of sounds like
vagina.
vagina.
Yeah, basically it's this cylindrical thing. You stick a zucchini and you turn the zucchini, and it just spirals out little noodles, and it's amazing. So I take squash, yellow squash. I'll take
They
zucchini.
could have come up with so many amazing names, but instead they picked that one. Like
Dude,
the Veginator.
Here, take my phone and look it up while I'm talking. I mean, we got to find that. It's just going to blow everybody's mind. And basically what you do with these things is you could do like a whole zucchini if you want. This is a great way to get vegetables and taste good. It takes a minute to spiral them out. And I just spiral them right into a pan with olive oil.
But don't go too low with the spiraling. Heaven's sakes, every single time I lose my knuckles. I have no knuckles on my right side because
how many times
spin it down and I'm like,
do you know how
why
many
are
times
these
I have
zoodles
caught
red?
my knuckles
It's
on those
because
things?
I'm bleeding.
Never once.
Well, I'm sorry for being an overachiever.
What
and
I
do
do
a really
when I
good
get
job at getting down to
when
the
I
nut.
get down to the last part of the zucchini, I take a fork and I stick it in the end of the zucchini and I turn the fork so that my hands are nowhere near the razor sharp insides of that thing.
I'm so glad you're perfect.
So while Priscilla's looking that up, what you do is you put them in a pan. You heat up the pan with olive oil. You dump those suckers in with a little bit of pink salt. You're done. They taste amazing. The olive oil and the pink salt do the job, and the zucchini tastes great. It's like eating noodles. The other thing you can do for noodles are shiitake noodles. They're basically mushroom noodles. They're at your local health food store. You probably have to ask for them. They come in these little tiny packages, and they have to stay refrigerated. Yeah, they have to stay refrigerated.
It's over by the ghee.
It's over by the ghee.
And the tofu and all the other weird foods that you never try until you're like, I need something to mix this up.
But they're amazing. Now, what happens is because they're mushrooms, when you open it up, they're in some water, it reeks, dude. It smells like earth. And you know what it smells like? It smells like kava kava.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to tell that story in just a minute. And so every time I smell it, I get sick. But what you do is you put them in a strainer, and you rinse it off with water, and that smell goes away immediately. You basically flash boil them for like 2 minutes or a minute or something. So you boil the water, you dump them in, you pull them out, boom, you got noodles. And they look like noodles, they taste like noodles, but they got no carbs. Or I think 6 grams of carbs for the entire, or 3 grams for the entire pack. I don't know.
Actually, Miracle noodles have no calories.
Wait, no calories?
No, I don't even know how it's possible.
It's a mushroom. They're made from mushrooms.
They should call them moodles.
So
Miracle
noodles.
Noodles.
Well, okay. So I said kava kava, and I got a sidebar on this story because this is amazing. When we lived in Florida, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of kava kava, or if you've drank kava kava, but we had no idea what it was.
Listen, we're just normal people that want adventure.
We were living in West Hillsborough County.
We just wanted adventure. We wanted
on
fun.
Hillsborough Avenue. And we were Dale Mabry is what it was, right? Yeah, we went down to Dale Mabry, and we were heading out to Clearwater. Come back one night, and we just see this little like stand on the side of the road. It looked like a coffee stand, kind of. You know,
we went intentionally. We went looking we went looking for a brain trip. We're like, we want to have this amazing awakening experience,
we
which now we have those without drugs or alcohol or anything.
But I think you were Googling on the phone. We were in Clearwater or in St. Pete.
We had planned for this because we had date night every single Wednesday. Keep in mind, he's hitting his head every single day during this period of time. So the dishes went in the laundry basket, and he took a right when he meant to take a left and all that stuff. But anyways, we Googled this place, and we're like, we're going to try kava kava because apparently it's this awesome brain trip where it's kind of like alcohol, but it's like a really cool, intuitive, like spiritual experience. And so we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. So the guy sits us down at the bar, and he's like, have you guys ever done this before? We're like, no. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you guys both kava kava. You say this, you clink your glasses together, you drink it, and then you'll be good.
No, wait, they're not glasses. They're
coconuts.
Wooden bowls.
They're like coconuts that you wear.
They kind of look like the inside, but they're just like these dirty coconut bowls. And so I'm like, what is this stuff?
So we picked it up. We said whatever he said to say, and then we clinked them together, and we drank them down, and we felt nothing.
Yeah, and it tastes like it tastes like you're drinking mud.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up just thinking about it.
It's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
And I go, because he warned us, like, it's gonna taste very earthy, is what he said.
I seriously don't know if I can be a part of the story.
Then take your headphones off.
Oh my god.
It gets bad.
Okay,
guys.
so it's kind of like if you go down to the lake and you find the muddiest part of the water.
Yep.
Can you think of what that kind of like smells like? So now scoop it up in a coconut shell. Now drink that. So that's pretty much what.
Well, kava kava is a root, and I don't know how they run this stuff. Like basically, they strain water through it in a bunch of different. They press it out.
What's this face?
I can't describe that. It's like
What is this face?
I'm starting to throw up, but not quite throwing up face.
Oh.
That's just, I don't even like that face on you.
No, it's not good.
Well, the point is, I talked to this guy. I'm like, look, dude, is it safe to drive? Oh, totally safe. So it's not like alcohol. Like, no, you're gonna feel, you're gonna get a cool buzz, a cool trip, but it's totally safe. It's not like alcohol. You can drive. I'm like, okay, cool. So we sat there, we
felt nothing.
Nothing.
Like we were fine. We're like, okay, this is all. I'm enjoying you, but like this is kind of a little lame. Can we have another drink?
Bowl? Basically, we do another bowl. So we got another bowl of this stuff. We drank, and it's just like
we didn't feel it
going like. Just like water that has been run through mud going down.
It was horrifying. And then we felt nothing. And I'm like, do you feel anything? He's like, no. Do you? And I'm like, no. And then we like waited. We're like, this is really stupid.
So I think
and then
third
we're like,
bowl
let's
is when we
do
felt
another one. Let's do another one.
I think it hit us all at once.
And then they all came. They all hit us one time. And all of a sudden, like
extremities started going numb.
It
felt like 0 to 100. And
remember Zoolander? I think it was. Like, ooh, I love to love you, baby.
that
Like,
scene
that's
where like they're all having
totally-
crazy group sex.
And he
So
and
we
I
were
are
not
like
having group sex,
looking
though.
each other in the eyes, and then suddenly we're like looking a bum in the eyes, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we're talking like
You didn't
some
hallucinate,
Greek lady, and
but
like
your brain was just in another fucking world.
it was awesome. It was so fun, and we were like having the most amazing conversations, and it was like really, really.
Because these guys were super hippie and they're just sitting with us talking. We were it's like smoking a joint and being super high, but different.
So the place closed. We ended up
we
in
shut it down.
back, like talking to all these people.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And this is like 3 cups of this stuff, and
We did.
we're
Like
having
4
a really
or
good.
more.
Did we?
We
I
had a
thought
lot.
it was like 3 and then we're like 1 shot, 1 more cup or
Whatever
whatever,
it
because
was.
it felt good, and then it all hit us.
So then
it was crazy.
we laughed. Like, we got to go. And I get in the car.
But
and
I remember I had to pee. And so I'm like walking around the building like 16 times, like, and I couldn't get it through my head that the place was closed. And I'm like, I think we have to go. Like, I think we have to leave. So we get into the car.
And I start driving, and I realized very quickly, I'm like, I don't think I should be driving. Like, the guy said it was totally fine, but I think I'm staying on the road, but I am not sure. And then I remember I couldn't feel my lips or my tongue all of a sudden. And then
I felt no lips or tongue either.
yeah, that was the craziest part. And then we're about halfway home, and
Like,
Priscilla goes, I need you to pull over right now.
At that point, like, I kind of didn't even know who I was.
Yeah, it became very weird and very almost scary. I pulled over. Priscilla threw up like 3 times outside the door.
Keep in mind, I had never thrown up before this day, ever in my entire life.
Really?
I never, ever, ever threw up before this day.
What?
Never.
Oh.
Never threw up.
Well,
So you pulled over to the side of the road, and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm throwing up, but it's not once, it's not twice, it's not 3 times.
Oh,
I'm up to like 6 times. And
just
I'm like,
it was
this
like a
is
river.
nuts. And guess what? Then I got a throw up buddy.
I didn't throw up till I got home.
You got out of the car.
Did I?
And you were like, honey, are you okay? Oh,
that's
you
right.
started like throwing up. Like, so we were like over on the
I
side
think
of
I
the
had
road.
white pants on too. Like, that was my first
Dude,
pair of
I
white
don't know
pants
how
ever.
many hours we were pulled over on the side of the road throwing up.
I have no recollection, but I know we got home back to we got back to the house.
Threw up some more.
We threw up all night, and there was a point when I could not feel my legs, and that was the scariest part. We ended up sleeping
Or
on the
our
floor.
lips.
Legs,
nose.
my brain, my head was
My
like
brain
all
was
felt like it
hurting,
was.
yeah.
My face was huge, but we ended up sleeping on the floor, and I felt like I was floating all night. It was just nuts.
And please understand.
I couldn't walk. I literally could not walk. That was
Please
my scary thing.
understand, like every time. Oh, we couldn't walk. Yeah. So every time we threw up, we tasted the kava kava again. And that's
Muddy,
why
earthy.
even the word kava kava, I'm like, oh, this is years ago, you guys.
Well, come to find out, we did some research on it the next day.
But the next day, we still couldn't move. We were incapacitated.
A little bit.
We were not okay, though.
I
we
felt
were not feeling
terrible
good.
the next day. Come to find out, that's the thing. So the kava kava, I don't remember where it came from. It was somewhere. Was it the Philippines?
Was it Brazil?
Wherever it was. I'm like, is it Philippines or Brazil? 2 totally different sides of the world. Two totally different sides of the flat Earth.
Fiji.
Just kidding. Oh, it was Fiji. That's exactly what it was. By the way, I do not believe in flat Earth. But Fiji, yeah, that's where it was. And apparently, like, the men will they'll blow all their money or whatever it is that they have on kava kava, and they'll just get obliterated. And like, apparently this is what happens. Like, you can't walk, you can't move. It does something to the nervous system so that you just basically just sit there like a fucking bump on the log with this crazy ass high. So those 2 dudes at the stand basically lied to me. Like, it was super dangerous.
Or maybe they just didn't know.
So if you've ever done kava kava, be careful sniffing the miracle noodles, because it might remind you of a bad trip. About the miracle noodles.
Dude, well, I will admit, it was really fun for like 20 minutes before we started dying.
Yeah, when the dying started. It was like, when I had that real bad trip when I smoked that weed that one time. That
Speaking of
OD'd.
Speaking of flat Earth, did that guy take off in the rocket or what?
No. All right. So if you guys have been following anything in the news about flat Earth, actually, I saw Joe Rogan post on this. There's this nutcase. And I don't remember.
Or a guy to which we do not have all the information about.
So there's a guy. Well, I just kind of categorize flat earthers as people that don't have all the information.
Please stand by while Gabe dehumanizes people.
I'm not going to dehumanize them. I'm just saying the flat Earth theory blows my mind. Because I actually had
It's
to do some
perplexing.
research on it. And we're way off keto right now, but this is a good topic. I had to do some research on it because I was like, okay, well, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Let me look into this. And then when I just did the math, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how could this isn't possible? It would blow every astrophysicist, theory out of the water. Everything would just fall apart. Gravity would fall apart. Like the world, like nothing would work right.
He's like, how does
Physics
gravity
would
work?
just, me being an engineer, like I get math, dude. Like math works, and it works because the fucking Earth is round and there's fucking gravity, and things fall at 9.8 meters per second. That's why it works. Anyway, all that aside, this guy somewhere, Midwest, I think is where he is. I honestly don't know. He was going to shoot himself into the air in a homemade rocket, 1800 or what was it? Not 1800, not 18,000, whatever. He's in the stratosphere. Basically, some asinine, miles and miles above the Earth, into the stratosphere. Take a picture so he could prove that the Earth was flat and that it wasn't round. And he was going to stream the whole thing live on the internet for pay-per-view. I'm like, dude, I'm getting this. It was supposed to be last Saturday.
He told me that, and I'm like, why doesn't he just send a camera up?
That's what
why
I
does
said,
he have
too.
to send himself up in his homemade rocket?
Apparently NASA got a giant conspiracy theory, and now GoPro. If that's the case, GoPro shot one up into space. I'm like, okay, well, dude, if GoPro's doing it, I'm sure they're not in on the conspiracy theory. We saw the Earth was round on GoPro.
When you said homemade rocket, I just imagine this like shaking cardboard box and like
Dude,
flames
if you
drawn
saw
on
a
the
picture
side.
of it, it's literally this. It's no bigger than a car.
Oh dear.
It's tiny.
But I just imagine like this rickety falling apart thing.
It ain't like a spaceship, dude. Like there are wires and hoses on the outside and like canisters of compressed stuff. Just look it up.
God.
Just look up flat Earth rocket on Google. You guys will be blown away. So he didn't go up into space because he was going to do this on public land. The Department of Land Management, the Bureau of Land Management, got wind of it via the internet. He got a call because he swore that somebody gave him the verbal, and the manager, whoever's got oversight on it, was like, "No, you didn't go through our process. You don't have a special permit to do this. You can do it, but you need a special permit. It's going to take some time." And he's just like, "Fuck that! I'm going to go private property." So now he's gone, set up and he's got an RV, by the way, that broke down. That is his launching pad. So the RV broke down. He had to get it fixed. Goodness. And now he's set up waiting for the winds to die down. So he's thinking it could be, it's supposed to be today was the goal. So maybe we should look this up. By the time you guys are listening to this, there may be a guy that shot himself into, the stratosphere and didn't come back.
Or maybe he shot a GoPro instead, which
Maybe.
would be a really good
the reason
choice.
he's doing it is because he just wants to do it. And then Flat Earth was like, the Flat Earth Society funded him if he would do this. He's like, yeah, basically, if you look at the details of it, he wants to do it because he's done this before. He shot himself up, I think he had a rocket that made it like 1.4 miles or something. And then he was in like a walker for a week because he crashed. Anyway, so he wants to get this thing working. Flat Earth said that they would, or Flat Earth Society said that they would fund him. Long story short, this big red rocket piece of shit is about to go into space with some dude that just has a death wish to prove that the Earth is flat. And he's going to be shocked when he finds out it's pretty fucking round.
A flat earther's plan to launch himself into a homemade rocket has been postponed.
Yeah, that was the last news update.
This is yesterday.
Yeah.
So big government forbids flat earth rocket man's ridiculous flight.
Yeah, there's a lot of news on that.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking at these pictures. This is crazy.
Yeah,
it's like a little red rocket.
Yes.
It looks like he spent
like a
more
toy.
on paint.
That he did. And he blatantly says, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm way behind on this science shit. Like, it's just, if you read his comments, you just find out he's going to die.
Why would you? He's got arrows drawn on this thing that says research in the middle. One of those arrows is pointing down. Like, that just is not hopeful. I don't know. This is crazy.
So while Priscilla looks at, flat earth rockets, I just want to say, again, the whole high and the low of the keto diet, guys, a protein source, a fat source, and some fucking greens. And that's it. It's really not complicated. Eggs, hard-boiled eggs, poached eggs, scrambled eggs, egg whites. I don't fucking care how you get it. There's some eggs. Or meat. Add up your macros to make sure you're getting enough protein per meal. Look in the dashboard for Genesis and for Revolution. Get your fats. There's a list of fat sources. Go get your fucking fat sources. Make sure they're healthy fats, not hydrogenated oils and shit like that. It's going to kill you, but get healthy fats. And then limit your carbohydrates. Look for those trace carbs in your fat sources. And finally, add some greens to just about every single meal that you can. And you will be in keto in no time. I mean, it's really that simple. There is no... We've taken the science out of it for you guys. We have simplified it. So you literally look at the dashboard, you see your macros, you go, okay, that's what I got to get. I'm done. Easy. And it really is that easy. And again, if you need recipes beyond what we've told you tonight, and you need some ideas, go to the Spartan Army, bodyspartan.com/Spartan Army. And take that 30-day free trial. Oh, and by the way, how did I forget this? With the Spartan Army, on top of all that other crap that we give you, those amazing things that we give you every single week that aren't crap, they're actually really freaking cool.
Not crap.
The tons of time that we pour into that because it's our favorite thing in the world, we just opened up our affiliate program on the Spartan Army as well. So every member now has a chance to be a product of the product and share their process, their progress, their success. Get their own link. You guys can sell our products. You have an opportunity to make a secondary income through Body Spartan. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Way too much Moana in this house.
So much.
All right. So hopefully these keto hacks helped you guys. Oh, before we take off, one more keto hack. I know I should have just ended it, but one more keto hack. Toppings, condiments make all the difference. One of my favorite things, sriracha. 0 carbs. You put sriracha on everything. 6-pack bags, they have sauces that are 0 carbs. They're amazing.
So saucy.
They're very saucy. Flavor God. Tons of seasonings that you guys can get. And then there's one more. I think it's Walden Farms is the one that Howard uses.
Or be boring like me and put pink salt on everything.
Yeah, but Walden Farms, they got like chocolate tasting syrup. They got everything that you could want for keto. So Walden Farms, Flavor God, 6-pack bags has the sauces that are 0 carbs and sriracha. With those things and any salad dressing that you want because it's loaded in fat, mayonnaise, eat all the mayonnaise you want, dude, or use the veganase that we have. It's basically plant-based mayonnaise. I mean, you can't go wrong.
And guess what, lazy butt? If you're so lazy that you just can't do it,
put it in a blender.
Call Nutrition Solutions because they are amazing. They give the best keto meals, and you can literally put sauce all over that all day long.
Let me interject.
Easy peasy peasy.
So Nutrition Solution does not do keto meals.
They only do it for us?
They only do it for us.
Sorry, never mind. Maybe if you ask really
what
nice.
What you could do, and the way my keto meals are prepared, they don't come with fats. So Chris and Lee, they send me, it's Chris Cavallini, the owner, and then Lee Anderson, which is Chris's right-hand man.
So easy.
They send me basically my macros for the fat. I'm sorry, for the meat. So I'll just get a bunch of meat that's cooked and tastes amazing with vegetables in it, and then I just add the fats to it.
We're spoiled.
You could call and ask, or you could email and ask if they will do the same for you. Say, hey, I heard Gabe gets keto meals. Can you do the same for me?
And if they say no, you can cry and bat your eyes, and they will probably say yes. Probably, because they're really nice.
And they'll probably send you a clean cheat every week, too. They're like little tiny donuts, like protein donuts.
Mia
you can have
asks,
on your free feed day.
She asks how many more days till clean cheats get
Look,
here.
my toes are curled. It's coming tomorrow. I can't wait to get my clean cheat.
But then you think, you want me to ruin that for you? Kava kava.
All right, so those are our keto hacks for tonight. I'm positive that if you didn't know anything about keto, you now know a whole shit ton about it. You also know what kind of meals to eat, and you know that you need a protein, a fat, and very little carbs. And that's keto in a nutshell. And you also know there's a guy about to launch himself into the fucking stratosphere that has a death wish for the Flat Earth Society.
And we love your faces.
We do. And we're out of here, guys. We will talk to you next.
For more free information on fitness, nutrition, and bodybuilding, visit us at www.bodyspartan.com.